To outsiders, football, oil rigs, and cattle often come to mind when thinking of the Lone Star State. But away from the hustle and bustle of the big cities, oil fields, and livestock operations, exists a diverse landscape with limitless hunting opportunities.
It's a whole group of them coming this way.
I'm Rob Gerstner, history buff and wild sheep enthusiast. For me, Texas is an important stop on my journey to complete the all-archery Grand Slam Club Ovis Triple Slam. Nestled in the Davies Mountains of West Texas is a ranch few others in the world can rival.
So this property is 55,000 acres?
Pretty close,
Pretty close.
If you squashed it out, it would be a lot bigger.
This 86 square mile private property is home to herds of free-range Armenian mouflon, red sheep, and Aoudad, each one significant to my slam quest. My pursuits take me to the farthest reaches of the earth in search of some of the most challenging high mountain species. And as if the rugged terrain and unpredictable weather weren't enough, I've upped the ante with a free-range, fair chase, archery-only standard. And this is just the beginning, driven by a passion for wildlife conservation and a fascination with history. These hunts take me on an adventure few could ever imagine. For me, hunting isn't a sport or hobby. It's a calling to something greater, an invitation to climb higher and go farther, to venture beyond the edge of civilization. Located in the south central United States, Texas is a state to be reckoned with. It is the second largest by landmass with over 268,000 square miles. 29.2 million residents make Texas the second largest state by population. And a $1.7 trillion gross domestic product places it as the second largest economy in the U.S. If Texas were an independent country, it would rank globally at 40th by landmass, 54th by population, and 9th by GDP. Energy production is one of the major contributing factors to the booming Texas economy. On final approach to Midland International Airport, one can see a sprawling landscape of oil fields stretching as far as the eye can see. Their history is chronicled at the Permian Basin Petroleum Museum. This area was covered by an ancient sea 300 million years ago. Massive coral reef formations held a diverse array of sea life that thrived for nearly 50 million years. Changes in the Earth's crust eventually caused the sea to be cut off from the ocean. In time, the water evaporated, leaving behind the sediment that would morph into the largest producing oil field in the United States. Named for the geological period in which this ancient sea existed, the Permian Basin covers 86,000 square miles of West Texas. In the late 1800s, vast grasslands attracted cattle ranchers after the Civil War. With little to no surface water, ranchers were forced to dig wells to keep their families and cattle alive, oftentimes exposing pockets of oil and natural gas. The first commercial oil operation struck black gold in 1921, setting into motion an industry that put the Permian Basin on the world map. It was the largest known oil field until those of the Middle East were discovered in 1938. Now, new research driven by modern technology places the Permian Basin back in the #1 spot as the largest oil reserve on the planet. 3-hour drive southwest of Midland. Tucked away in the Davies Mountains at the edge of the Permian Basin is the Williams Ranch, an oasis in an otherwise desolate region. This is Rowdy McBride, a wildlife biologist and accomplished international sheep hunter. Rowdy has been guiding wild sheep and goat hunters across the globe since 1988 and currently has access to the only free-ranging herds of Armenian mouflon and red sheep in the United States.
Do they cover a lot of ground, or do they stay in, like, are they generally...
No, they move around.
They move around a lot, yeah.
These rarely spend the night in the same place twice. Yeah.
Native to northwestern Iran, red sheep and Armenian mouflon were introduced to the Williams Ranch in the late 1970s. Met with similar terrain, climate, and ground cover, the two species quickly adapted. Unlike many exotic ranches that contain their animals with high fences, these sheep are free-range and hunted under fair chase conditions. What makes the Williams Ranch truly unique from a wildlife management perspective is the availability of water. The Trans Pecos region of West Texas is both the most mountainous and the driest part of the state. This rugged landscape receives less than 16 inches of rain per year, slightly more than necessary to classify it as a desert. Few natural waterways and reservoirs exist, resulting in an unforgiving environment. Certainly not what one would expect in an area with a successful cattle ranch.
So this is a main pump?
Yeah, it's a submersible pumps in there, and then it pumps out of here into the storage tank, and then a booster running off the same generator.
Yeah.
Takes it out of the storage tank, and then bumps it up to the next high one, and then again out of that one into the very top one.
A series of 14 wells, some as deep as 1,200 feet, provide for all the water needs on the Williams Ranch. Pumped into holding tanks high in the hills, gravity then feeds over 100 water troughs through a network of pipes that cross the ranch like a giant spider web. Water access for the cattle is intentionally placed at higher elevations, forcing the cattle to move uphill and avoid overgrazing in low-lying areas. This technique maximizes land use and the capacity for raising cattle. As an added benefit, wildlife thrives. Native species like antelope and mule deer freely wander these hills in numbers that would be impossible without such an extensive water system. Red sheep and Armenian mouflon typically roam large expanses of land, but here they remain close. And Aoudad flourish.
It's a whole group of them coming this way.
Suspecting these Aoudad are heading for a drink, we quickly set up downwind from the water tank. Native to the desert mountains of northern Africa, Aoudad are built for dry, rugged environments. Occasionally referred to as Barbary sheep, they are scientifically classified as goats. Legend has it that several American soldiers who deployed in the North African campaign of World War II thought the Aoudad made for a good game animal and had several shipped back to Texas near the end of the war. In 1957, Texas wildlife officials released a herd of 40 Aoudad in Palo Duro Canyon, just southeast of Amarillo. The idea was if they survived, struggling cattle ranchers could subsidize their livestock income by offering guided hunts for these desert goats. Aoudad have since become the most populous free-ranging exotic species in the state of Texas. At the same time, native populations have rapidly dwindled to less than 10,000 in all of northern Africa. Today, the exotic wildlife industry in Texas is worth an estimated $2 billion. Like Aoudad, many other game species introduced to Texas have faced a dramatic decline in native populations, some to the point of extinction in the wild. Conservation efforts driven by hunters and exotic game ranchers have reintroduced several species to their native ranges. The Arabian oryx, black buck antelope, and scimitar-horned oryx have all been successfully repatriated. In many ways, these success stories have become a beacon of hope for sustaining many species around the globe.
There are a lot of deer out here, though, so your deer population is pretty strong.
We're doing good.
Yeah.
Boss's favorite thing, so as long as the deer are happy, he's happy.
To traditional, old-school cattle rancher, the Williams Ranch is in many regards a continual experiment in modern ranching methods. In 1957, ranch owner Clayton Williams entered the oil industry and quickly took to wildcatting. Like prospectors of the gold rush, wildcatters took massive risks in the search for oil deposits. Many went bankrupt, while some struck it rich. For Williams, the risk paid off, and in 1975, he used oil profits to purchase his first ranch. His idea was always to turn the land into an environmentally sustainable operation for both cattle and wildlife, a radical plan for the times. Improved grasslands, a rotational grazing plan, and an extensive water system meant the Williams Ranch was able to consistently raise 3 times more cattle than what was otherwise possible. It also meant that wildlife and cattle could coexist without competition for scarce resources. So this property is 55,000 acres?
Pretty close,
Pretty
yeah.
close.
If you squashed it out, it would be a lot bigger.
And over the years, he's added on, right? Like he's
He
expanded.
bought it in different pieces.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but I mean, over the years, yeah.
Yeah. This is a pretty amazing map, though. So the roads and the water lines are a lot of the cases one and the same.
Yes.
Makes sense because
Yeah,
it's how they drop the lines. Yeah. This is Carlos, one of the local ranch hands who lives on the property with his family. His job is to maintain the water system, looking for leaks and ensuring the generators remain in good working order. Carlos tells Rowdy about a small group of 3 Aoudad he spotted earlier in the day, one of which he describes as a big mature ram.
Luego sí.
Sí quiere todo, él sí tiene los arcos
Ah, ¿sí?
todo el tiempo. Necesita muy cerquita.
Curious about archery hunting, I give Carlos an arrow and broadhead and show him my bow. Meeting Carlos was an experience I won't soon forget. He's a true salt-of-the-earth guy, a modern cowboy working hard to keep this ranch alive. Leaving him to his work, we head out to locate that group of rams.
Man, the wind's perfect. But then the wind swirled around for like 10 seconds. And it carried it right over them, busted them out. Yeah, they're on their way out down.
Despite the hot temperatures and unforgiving landscape, West Texas is beautiful country. We've seen more Aoudad this week than I could have ever imagined, but the sparse ground cover makes getting into bow range difficult. They have amazing eyesight and are very wary of intruders. Getting eyes on a small group of Aoudad while staying out of their sight and remaining downwind has been challenging, but that's part of what makes hunting so enjoyable for me. And my excitement spikes once again as Rowdy spots two rams near a distant ridgeline.
Off to the left of it is a little spine of rocks, and they're down below that spine of rocks.
Yeah, they're definitely boogieing this way. I mean, they got a long way to go, but...
We sit tight for the morning, watching from a distance until the wind is right. Both rams appear to be mature, and there isn't a single ewe in sight. This is exactly the opportunity I need to get within bow range.
that arrow went right through him. Ripped right through him, right behind the front shoulders. What a nice ram. Look at the chaps on these. How beautiful all this hair is on these Aoudads. They're just gorgeous. Thank you, sir. Your guiding is very much appreciated. Oh, and your friendship too. This is just so much fun. What a great animal. He's a nice one. It's beautiful country down here, and you can't ask for more with a bow, that's for sure. Classic free range spot and stalk. Nothing like it. It's a beautiful thing.
The Williams Ranch has proven to be a true oasis in the semi-arid Trans Pecos region of West Texas. A very successful cattle ranch coexists with both native and exotic wildlife. This is owed entirely to the modern ranching methods that have created a model of efficient land use in an otherwise desolate environment. This is an amazing place, no doubt. One I fully intend to return to, focused on the pursuit of red sheep and Armenian mouflon.